Jacksonville Jaguars fans, welcome into Duval Daily presented by GenJag.com. I'm Jordan Alua. Thank you so much for being here Wednesday, November 26th, one day before Thanksgiving. I am very thankful for everyone who tunes in and supports this channel. I really am. It means the world to me. Right now, we're taking a look at Liam Coen's press conference from today. Always kind of like to dive in, especially to this press conference, the Wednesday press conference, because I think it really kind of sets the table for the week and a lot of good information. Liam Coen is great with the media, so I do really appreciate that. We're going to dive into it. Really appreciate y'all being here. If you enjoy the content, please like and subscribe. You can also check out genjag.com, pick up some new Duval gear, help support the channel, look really good while doing it. So he started off talking about the last 6 games, right? The Jaguars, they've played 11 games already. There's only 6 games left. 4 of those games are in the division. Each game in November and December really matters. Getting into January too, obviously, Liam Coen talked about, but those divisional games, they matter just a little bit more because of, division standing. You win your division, you're in. You don't have to worry about anything else. You win your division and you're in. And the Jaguars' goal, they have publicly stated many times this year, is to win their division. So you have to take care of business within the division over the last 6 games, 4 of the last 6 games, and you'll be right there. I mean, if they win their division games, they'll finish with 11 wins. Now, I don't expect them to sweep both the Titans and Colts. I do think they should be expected to sweep the Titans. But yeah, these games matter a lot. And he also talked about how the record really doesn't matter right now in these games. Obviously, your record is important, but in the game, like when you line up between the whistles, especially against divisional opponents, your record does not matter. You have to go out there and earn that win every single time. And so people have talked about this potentially being a trap game for the Jaguars. I don't think it's a trap game because, if you can't get the Jags ready to play the Titans, that's a problem there. And I'm not saying that Liam Coen can. I think that he knows the importance of this game. I really do. And I think this team knows the importance of this game. So I don't think that you're thinking trap game. Now, have the Jaguars shown that they have the ability to play down to their competition by beating themselves in a lot of different ways? Yes, for sure. Cardinals hadn't won very many games either, and they gave the Jaguars everything they could handle last week because Trevor Lawrence turned it over 4 times. So, yeah, the Jaguars have the ability to come out and play some silly football, whether that be Trevor Lawrence turning the ball over, offensive line not getting the job done, pre-snap penalties, holding, receivers dropping the ball, inability to cover on the back end. There's been a lot of different reasons the Jaguars have had close games this year. But this isn't a trap game, in my opinion. Jags are favored by 6.5, but I think that getting ready for the Titans should not be difficult in terms of, being amped up. And they've talked about you don't want to be too amped up for these games. You want to be in control. But if you can't get ready mentally to play the Titans, you've seen so many times the Titans ruin the Jaguar season, right? So you can't have any of that. Parker Washington, talked about him a good bit. Said he's been one of their most consistent performers at receiver going back to training camp. He's one of the first people in the building. He takes care of his body. He takes care of his mentals. He's done such a good job learning the playbook, and he's really coming on, and they just love everything that Parker Washington is about in that building. So cool just to hear the coach talking about some of his players, and he talked about some other guys very complimentary as well, including some safeties. He was asked about Eric Murray's return, and the Jaguars did open up that 21-day practice window for Eric Murray to be activated and return to the active roster. He had a neck injury that placed him on IR. That's exciting. It is to get Eric Murray back. I think that having him is certainly much better than not having him. But as Liam Coen talked about, Antonio Johnson's playing good football. He really is. I mean, he's helping the Jaguars right now. You've seen games where that hasn't been the case. For sure. But right now, he's playing good football. He's making impact plays. Rayon Lane got his most snaps that he's gotten so far in on the defensive side of the ball, and he's been a special teams standout for the Jaguars this year, the rookie safety out of Navy. But he's starting to see time on the defensive side of the ball, and he's playing tough. He's playing aggressive. And then you also have Andrew Wingard, Dewey, who has played well the last couple weeks. So I think Liam is definitely happy to get Eric Murray back, but what he said is very true. The last couple weeks, the safety spot has been playing well and helping the Jaguars win these football games. And Rayon Lane, he just keeps taking steps forward. I'm a big fan of his. Jaguars got a couple young safeties. Hopefully you get Caleb Ransaw back next year, and you got a couple guys you can build around here. And then Eric Murray's still a vet. I think Dewey's going to be a free agent. Antonio Johnson will still be around. So if these guys can just keep developing, the young guys specifically, that would be really good. And yeah, Rayon Lane had 26 snaps on defense. Played well, for sure. So talking about Trevor Lawrence and kind of the big plays he was making down the stretch in this game against the Cardinals. Yes, we all know about the turnovers. They're unacceptable. You can't have as many turnovers as he's been having. That's not sustainable. But letting his talent take over, kind of playmaking, that's what they've been talking about, letting it rip. And you've seen that lead to some success, for sure. You've seen him make some of the best plays he's made the whole year over the last few weeks. And against the Cardinals, he had an incredible plays. The fade to Parker, the touchdown throw to Parker where he's stepping up, the throw to Jacoby in the end zone where he's getting, there's a lot of guys bearing down on him. He's just got to get rid of the ball early and trust Jacoby. And Liam Coen was excited about that. And I think that Liam Coen, he's excited to call plays right now on offense. He talked about his confidence really growing in the passing game and calling plays for the passing game. And sure, there's been some variance, right, with the turnovers, but it's looking better in the passing game, consistency-wise, down-to-down-wise. Eliminate the turnovers a little bit, and you could be cooking with gas. I think he really feels that way. Getting the tight ends back, talking about that, he likes to be in 12 personnel, and he thinks that being in 12 eliminates basically teams being able to play in their nickel defense, and there's some different wrinkles that nickel presents that he likes to not allow teams to use defensively. So he really likes 12, and he's hopeful they can continue to use it. Brenton Strange, we've talked about it a million times. His impact has been tremendous. Talking about a couple Titans players, Cam Ward, he's talked about how he's really getting into the rhythm of playmaking, both within the pocket and outside the pocket, and he's a really dangerous young quarterback, and Jags fans absolutely need to know that. The Titans are not as good of a team as the Jaguars, but they have players like Cam Ward who can really create. And then talking about Jeffrey Simmons, he was like, Jeffrey Simmons, he's not Aaron Donald. I'm not saying Aaron Donald, but he does a lot, and he can really wreck the game. Jags fans have seen Jeffrey Simmons wreck football games. We don't have to, go over that too much, but that's somebody they have highlighted for sure. They also have DK from Florida highlighted, the rookie receiver and punt returner, who he's a game wrecker. They talk about the game wreckers on Wednesday mornings. He's a game wrecker on special teams and on offense. He's making game-changing, game-altering plays that's allowing them to stay in games in a lot of situations. So Jaguars, they got a great punt returner of their own in Parker Washington, but the Titans, you have to make sure you're on your P's and Q's in the coverage game and on defense, because he is so fast. So fast. If he makes somebody miss, it can be off to the races. So you got to lock it down for sure whenever he has an opportunity to touch the football. Talked about colder weather, and it's not going to be like cold. And I think Hayes Hayes asked him about it and the possibility of rain. I don't think that there's actually a high likelihood of rain on Sunday. Chance of precipitation is about 20% on Sunday in Nashville, and it's like 5-10% throughout the game. So I don't think it's going to be wet, but I do think it'll be chilly. I don't think 43 degrees is really all that cold, personally. I think when you're running around playing football, 43 degrees does not feel that cold. Now, when it gets below freezing, then you're talking about a really cold football game. But 43 to me, let's see. At game time, it's going to be between 40 and, it'll be in the low 40s, high 30s. It's pretty chilly, but I don't think that's like playing in the frozen tundra at Lambeau. So, but Liam Coen, he's used to these types of elements, like the cold. He's used to being up in the Northeast and seeing he talked about the leaves on the trees changing colors. And my wife is from the Midwest, Kansas City. And so that's one thing she really misses about having like a real fall, which we don't really have in Jacksonville. But he says this is what November football is about. Playing in the cold weather, playing in the elements, and having to play tough football. And the Jaguars, so far, they've been a team that plays tough football. They run the ball, they stop the run. That's a pretty good couple things to be able to do at a high level when it does get cold out. Talked about Foye, and their relationship has really grown throughout the year, and he just loves that Foye is always himself, not a chameleon, he said, and a guy that always, no matter who he's talking to, he's Foye, he's himself, and talked about how he's been a consistent rock for them in a lot of ways. The person, the leader, the football player, said he's a pretty damn good tackler as well, so that's cool. And then final note here is the Brian Thomas Jr. potential return. Basically said what I expected. Going to try to get him out there on the grass, see how he's doing, see how he's feeling, and when he does return, which seems like he will with the ankle injury, stretching the field, opening up things. That's what they're going to try to do with him, and they've got guys they can rely on right now in the passing game. Parker Washington, Britton Strange, Jacoby Myers. So BT doesn't have to come back and be this 10-target guy, but he can be somebody who stretches the field, and if he can play with some confidence, he can really open up the passing game even more. Now, before he got injured, he'd been dealing with injuries a lot this year, so that's one thing to keep in mind, but he just wasn't playing like the guy you saw last year. And you hope you can get that back a little bit towards the end of the season. If you can, they could become a really dangerous offense. So that'll do it. Really appreciate y'all tuning in. If you enjoy the content, please like and subscribe, and y'all have a good one.